Hello, my good friends. How are you today? May God bless you all. I will not introduce anything. You guys watch the video and feel it, then let's evaluate together. Before we dive into this tale, let me know where you're tuning in from. Drop a comment below. If you're vibing with the story, smash that like button and subscribe for more. Have an awesome day, y'all. Let's get into it. The moon hung low over Tybee Island, its silver glow spilling across the waves like a spotlight on a stage set just for them. Jada Brooks stood barefoot in the sand, the cool grains slipping between her toes, her breath catching as the ocean breeze tugged at the hem of her white sundress. The air smelled of salt and freedom, a scent she'd never known until this moment. Beside her, Malcolm Reid towered in his crisp black shirt, sleeves rolled up to his elbows, his dark eyes locked on her like she was the only thing that mattered in the world. The waves crashed softly, their rhythm syncing with the wild thud of her heart. He didn't say a word at first. Didn't need to. The man had a presence that could hush a room, and right now, it was hushing the damn universe. Then, slow as molasses, he dropped to one knee, the sand crunching under his weight. Jada's hands flew to her mouth, a gasp slipping out as he pulled a velvet box from his pocket. The diamond inside caught the moonlight, sparkling like it held a piece of the sky itself, big, bold, but elegant, just like him. "Jada," he said, his voice low and steady, the kind of deep that rumbled through her bones. "From the second I laid eyes on you, my whole damn life flipped upside down. You're my heart, my strength, my everything. I want to spend every day showing you what you mean to me, loving you, protecting you, building a world with you. Will you marry me?" Her eyes burned, tears blurring the sight of him kneeling there, this billionaire who could buy anything, anyone, offering her his soul on a Georgia beach. 6 months ago, she'd been nothing, a shadow in a house that hated her, a girl with calloused hands and a heart full of scars. Now, here she was, staring down at a man who'd torn her from that hell and built her a heaven. The lump in her throat damn near choked her, but she managed to choke out the word that had been screaming in her chest. "Yes," she whispered, then louder. "Yes, Malcolm, 1,000 times, yes." He was up in a flash, that rare smile of his breaking wide as he slid the ring onto her finger. The weight of it felt like a promise, solid and real. Before she could catch her breath, his hands cupped her face, pulling her into a kiss that stole the air from her lungs. His lips were firm, hungry, tasting of salt and something sweeter. Maybe hope, maybe love, maybe both. Her arms wrapped around his neck, fingers digging into his shoulders as the waves cheered them on, crashing louder like they knew this was it, the moment everything changed. When he pulled back, his forehead pressed against hers, his breath ragged. "You're mine now, Jada Brooks," he murmured, voice thick with emotion, "and I ain't ever letting you go." She laughed through her tears, the sound raw and free, her heart so full it hurt. "Good, 'cause I ain't going nowhere." For a minute, they just stood there, wrapped up in each other, the world fading into the background. No past, no pain, just them. But how the hell did she get here? How did a girl like her, beaten down and forgotten, end up with a ring on her finger and a man like Malcolm Reid swearing forever? To understand that, you gotta go back. Way back to where it all started, 6 months ago, in a rundown corner of Atlanta, where dreams went to die. The house on Peachtree Street wasn't much to look at. A sagging 2-story dump with peeling paint and a roof that leaked when it rained, which was damn near every day in Atlanta's sticky summers. Inside, it smelled like stale cigarettes and desperation, the kind of place that sucked the life out of you if you stayed too long. Jada had been stuck there since she was 8, when her daddy, a big-hearted man with a laugh like thunder, keeled over from a heart attack at the steel mill. He'd been her whole world, the one who'd braid her hair and call her his little queen, telling her stories about their ancestors who'd fought and survived worse than this city could throw at them. But when he died, that world crumbled. Her mama had passed when she was a baby, and all he'd left behind was Jada and a widow who wasn't even her real kin. Tamara Brooks had swooped in fast, a bleach-blonde white woman with sharp nails and sharper words, claiming she'd been his true love before he got sick. Jada didn't buy it. Her daddy never mentioned no Tamara, but the courts did, and that's how she ended up with a stepmama who hated her guts and two step-siblings who treated her like dirt under their boots. The kitchen was her prison that morning, same as every morning. Jada knelt on the cracked linoleum, scrubbing at a grease stain with a rag so thin it barely held together. Her hands were rough, nails chipped, knuckles red from the bleach Tamara made her use. Her hair, thick, curly, the kind her daddy used to love, was yanked back in a messy bun, strands sticking to her sweaty neck. She was 25, but she felt 50, every bone in her body aching from years of this shit. "Girl, you call this clean?" Tamara's voice sliced through the air, shrill and mean as she stormed in, heels clicking on the floor. She was all dolled up, tight skirt, fake pearls, lipstick so red it looked like blood, ready to head out and spend money Jada knew they didn't have. "I swear, you're slower than a damn snail. Get your ass up and make breakfast. Derek and Chloe ain't waiting all day." Jada bit her tongue, tasting the copper of her own anger. "Yes, ma'am," she muttered, pushing herself up. Her knees popped, loud enough to make her wince. She didn't dare look Tamara in the eye. Last time she did, she'd gotten a slap that left her cheeks stinging for hours. Tamara sneered, leaning close enough that Jada could smell her cheap perfume. "You think you're something special, don't you? Just 'cause your daddy spoiled you rotten. Well, he's gone and you're mine now, so move it." Jada shuffled to the stove, her stomach growling as she cracked eggs into a pan. She hadn't eaten since yesterday, a stale biscuit she'd snatched from the trash after Chloe threw it out for fun. The smell of bacon hit her hard, twisting her gut, but she knew better than to sneak a bite. Last time she tried, Derek caught her and dumped the whole plate on the floor, laughing while she cleaned it up. "Yo, Jada!" Derek's lazy drawl came from the dining room, where he sprawled in a chair, scrolling his phone. At 22, he was built like a linebacker gone soft, all muscle turning to flab. "Hurry up, fam's starving over here." "Yeah, don't mess it up again," Chloe chimed in, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. She was 19, skinny, charged with petty cruelty, flipping her blonde ponytail as she smirked at Jada from across the table. "Maybe if you weren't so useless, we'd actually eat something decent." Jada didn't answer, just plated the food, eggs, bacon, toast, and set it down in front of them. She stood back, arms crossed, watching as they dug in, laughing and talking like she wasn't even there. Her stomach rumbled loud enough she prayed they didn't hear it, but of course, Derek did. "Damn, Jada, you sound like a damn bear," he said, shoving a strip of bacon in his mouth. "What, you think you're getting some of this?" He held up a piece, dangling it like a taunt, then popped it in his mouth with a grin. "Nah, fam, this is ours." Chloe giggled, tossing a crust at Jada's feet. "Oops, clean that up, will ya?" She bent down, picking it up with shaking hands, her throat tight. She'd stopped crying about it years ago. Tears didn't do shit but make them laugh harder. Instead, she held on to the one thing they couldn't take, the tiny spark of hope buried deep in her chest, whispering that one day, somehow, she'd get out. That night, she lay on the lumpy mattress in the closet they called her room, staring at the cracked ceiling. The house was quiet for once. Tamara out at some bar. Derek and Chloe crashed on the couch after too many beers. Jada pulled a crumpled dollar bill from under the mattress, tips she'd scraped together from odd jobs at the corner store, hidden where they wouldn't find it. It wasn't much, maybe $20 total, but it was hers, a lifeline. She clutched it close, whispering to the dark, "I'm getting out of here. I swear I am." She didn't know how, didn't know when, but she'd been planning it for months, sneaking cash, mapping bus routes, dreaming of a shitty little apartment somewhere far from Atlanta, maybe New Orleans where the music never stopped, or Chicago where nobody'd know her name. Anywhere but here. The next morning started like always, Tamara's screech yanking her out of sleep, the blanket ripped off her by those claw-like nails. "Get up, lazy ass! House ain't gonna clean itself!" Jada stumbled up, her body screaming, but something felt off. Tamara's eyes had a glint, meaner than usual, like a cat that had caught a mouse. "Got a surprise for you today," Tamara said, smirking as she sipped her coffee. "Pack your shit. You're leaving." Jada froze, the rag slipping from her hand. "What?" "You heard me. Somebody's taking you off my hands. 'Bout damn time, too. I'm sick of looking at you." Her heart slammed against her ribs, panic clawing up her throat. "Who? Where am I going?" Tamara laughed, cold and sharp. "You'll see. Ain't my problem no more." Before Jada could argue, the front door creaked open, and a shadow filled the frame. He was tall, damn near 6'5", broad shoulders stretching a tailored black suit that screamed money. His skin was a deep brown, like hers, but polished, like he'd never known a day of dirt. His jaw was sharp, eyes darker than midnight, and when they landed on her, it was like the air got sucked out of the room. "Jada Brooks?" His voice was smooth, deep, the kind that made you listen whether you wanted to or not. She nodded, barely, her mouth dry as hell. "Yeah?" He stepped closer, shoes gleaming on the grimy floor, and the corner of his mouth twitched. Not quite a smile. "Name's Malcolm Reid. You're coming with me." Tamara cackled behind him, clapping her hands like it was a damn show. "Told you, girl. You're his now. Good riddance." Jada's knees buckled, but she caught herself on the counter, staring at this stranger who looked like he'd walked out of a magazine. Malcolm Reid. The name rang a bell. Some big-shot real estate mogul she'd seen on the news, richer than God and twice as untouchable. What the hell did he want with her? "I ain't going nowhere with you," she snapped, voice shaking but loud. "You don't own me." His eyes narrowed, just a flicker, but he didn't flinch. "I paid for you, Jada. 10 grand. You're free from this dump. Ain't that what you want?" 10 grand. The number hit her like a punch. Tamara sold her, like she was a damn car on Craigslist. Rage boiled up, hot and fast, and she whirled on Tamara. "You bitch! You can't just—" Tamara cut her off, stepping close, nails digging into Jada's arm. "I can, and I did. You're trash, Jada, and he's taken you off my curb. Say thank you and get the hell out." Malcolm moved then, quick and quiet, his hand closing around Tamara's wrist and peeling her off Jada like she was nothing. "That's enough," he said, voice low, dangerous. "She's mine now. Touch her again, and you'll regret it." Tamara shrank back, eyes wide, and for the first time, Jada saw fear in her. But it didn't feel good. It felt wrong, twisted, because now she was his. What the hell did that mean? Malcolm turned to her, softer this time, but still firm. "Grab what you need. We're leaving." Her hands shook as she stuffed her few belongings, a hoodie, those crumpled bills, a photo of her daddy, into a plastic bag. Her mind raced, screaming at her to run. But where? She had nothing, no one, and this man, this stranger, was her only ticket out. She followed him to the door, legs heavy as lead, Tamara's laugh echoing behind her like a curse. Outside, a sleek black Escalade idled at the curb, windows tinted dark. Malcolm opened the door, nodding for her to get in. She hesitated, staring at him. Those eyes, that power, that promise of something she couldn't name. "Get in, Jada," he said, almost gentle now. "You're done here." She climbed in, the leather cool against her skin, and as the door slammed shut, the engine purred to life. The house shrank in the rear view, Tamara's silhouette fading into nothing, and Jada realized, with a jolt that hit her soul, her life wasn't hers anymore. Not yet. But maybe, just maybe, it could be. Hey y'all, if you're hooked on Jada's story already, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below. Where you watching from? Let's dive deeper into this wild ride together. The Escalade cut through Atlanta's streets like a blade, the city lights smearing past the tinted windows in streaks of gold and red. Jada sat stiff in the back seat, her plastic bag of belongings clutched tight against her chest, the crinkle of it loud in the silence. Malcolm Reid sat across from her, legs crossed, one hand tapping a slow rhythm on his knee. He didn't look at her, not yet, just stared out at the night, his profile sharp against the glow of passing streetlights. She couldn't tell if he was ignoring her or giving her space, but either way, it made her skin itch. The car smelled like leather and money, a world away from the stale rot of Tamara's house. Jada's stomach churned, hunger mixing with a fear she couldn't shake. 10 grand. That's what she was worth to him. A number, a transaction, a girl sold like a beat-up couch at a yard sale. She stole a glance at him, dark skin smooth as polished wood, jaw tight, eyes unreadable. He was a man who got what he wanted, no questions asked. So what the hell did he want with her? "Where we going?" she finally asked, her voice rough, breaking the quiet like a crack in glass. Malcolm turned his head slow, those midnight eyes locking onto hers. "My place," he said, simple as that, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. "Buckhead." Buckhead. The name hit her like a slap. Atlanta's ritzy north side, where the houses were big enough to get lost in and the people had more money than sense. She'd never been past the MARTA stop there, always peering out the bus window at the mansions and wondering who lived behind those gates. Now she was headed straight into it, and the thought made her dizzy. "Why me?" she pressed, leaning forward, her bag digging into her ribs. "You don't even know me. What's a guy like you need with some broke-ass girl from Peachtree?" He didn't answer right away, just studied her, like he was peeling back layers she didn't even know she had. Then he leaned in, elbows on his knees, close enough she could smell his cologne. Something woody, expensive, curling into her lungs. "I saw you," he said, voice low, steady. "Last week, at that corner store on MLK. You were counting change for a loaf of bread, hands shaking like you hadn't eaten in days. I asked around, found out who you were, what they've been doing to you." Her breath hitched, a memory flashing. Her fumbling with coins at the register, praying nobody noticed how lightheaded she was. She hadn't seen him, hadn't felt those eyes on her. "So what, you're some kind of stalker now? Buying girls 'cause you feel sorry for 'em?" His lips twitched, almost a smirk, but his gaze didn't waver. "Not pity, Jada. I don't do pity. I saw something in you, something they tried to bury, strength, fire. I wanted it, wanted you." The words landed heavy, sinking into her chest like stones. Wanted her? She didn't know whether to laugh or scream. Nobody wanted her. Not Tamara, not Derek or Chloe, not even the neighbors who turned a blind eye to the bruises she hid under long sleeves. But this man, this Malcolm Reid, looked at her like she was gold in a pile of trash, and it scared the hell out of her. The car slowed. pulling through a set of iron gates that swung open smooth and silent. Beyond them, a mansion loomed, all white stone and glass, glowing under floodlights like it was carved out of a damn magazine. Palms lined the driveway, their fronds swaying lazy in the night breeze, and a fountain bubbled in the courtyard, water catching the light in a shimmer. Jada's jaw dropped just for a second before she clamped it shut. She wasn't about to let him see her gawk. Malcolm stepped out first, holding the door for her. "Come on," he said, nodding toward the house. "You're home now." Home. The word felt like a lie on her tongue, but she slid out of the car anyway, her sneakers scuffing the pristine pavement. The air was cooler here, cleaner, none of that city grit she was used to. She followed him up the steps, past double doors that opened into a foyer bigger than Tamara's whole damn house. Marble floors stretched out under a chandelier dripping crystals, and a staircase curved up to a second floor she couldn't even see the end of. It was too much, too bright, too perfect, too everything. "Jesus," she muttered, clutching her bag tighter. "You live here alone?" "For now," he said, glancing back at her, that almost smirk playing on his lips again. "Not anymore." Her stomach flipped, but before she could snap back, a woman appeared from a side hall, tall, black, maybe 50, with gray streaks in her neat braids and a crisp apron tied over her slacks. She smiled at Malcolm, warm but quick, then turned to Jada. "Evening, Miss Brooks," she said, voice smooth as butter. "I'm Esther. I keep this place running. Anything you need, you holler, all right?" Jada nodded, caught off guard by the kindness in her tone. Yeah, thanks." Esther gave her a once-over, not judging, just taking her in, then looked at Malcolm. "Room's ready, like you asked. Dinner's on the stove if she's hungry." "She is," Malcolm said, answering for her, and Jada shot him a glare. He didn't flinch, just nodded at Esther. "Thanks, S. We'll take it from here." Esther dipped her head and slipped away, leaving them alone again. Malcolm gestured toward a hall off the foyer. "Kitchen's this way. You gotta eat something." "I can speak for myself," Jada said, voice sharp as she trailed him. "And I ain't hungry." Her stomach growled right then, loud and traitor-like, and Malcolm raised an eyebrow, not saying a word. She cursed under her breath, following him into a kitchen that looked like it belonged on TV. Stainless steel everywhere, a big island in the middle, and a pot simmering on the stove that smelled like heaven. Gumbo, maybe, rich with shrimp and spice, the kind her daddy used to make when she was little. "Sit," he said, pulling out a stool at the island. It wasn't a request, but his tone wasn't harsh either, more like he knew she'd fight him just to fight. She sat, grudgingly, dropping her bag on the floor. He grabbed a bowl from a cabinet, moving easy in this fancy-ass space like he belonged here, which he did, she guessed. Ladling gumbo into the bowl, he slid it in front of her, then leaned against the counter, watching her with those damn eyes. "Go on," he said. "Ain't poisoned." She stared at the food, steam curling up, her mouth watering despite herself. She hadn't had a real meal in days, just scraps and whatever she could sneak. Her pride screamed at her to push it away, but her hunger won. She grabbed the spoon, took a bite, and damn near moaned. It was good, spicy, thick, the kind of comfort she'd forgotten existed. Malcolm didn't say anything, just watched her eat, his face unreadable. Halfway through the bowl, she couldn't take it anymore. She dropped the spoon, glaring at him. "What's your deal, man? You buy me, bring me here, feed me. What's the catch? You want me to cook? Clean? Something worse?" He straightened, crossing his arms, the fabric of his shirt pulling tight over his chest. "No catch," he said. "I told you. I wanted you out of that hell. You don't owe me nothing, not a damn thing." "Then why?" She shot back, voice rising. You don't even know me. I ain't some charity case for you to fix up and feel good about." He stepped closer, slow, deliberate, until he was right in front of her, close enough she could feel the heat off him. "I know enough," he said, voice dropping low, rough around the edges. "I know you've been fighting to survive since you were a kid. I know you've got a fire in you that nobody's put out, not even them. And I know I couldn't walk away from that store last week without doing something about it." Her breath caught, his words hitting too close, too deep. She wanted to argue, to shove him back, but her throat locked up. He reached out, slow, like he was testing her, and brushed a curl off her forehead, his fingers grazing her skin. It wasn't much, but it sent a jolt through her. Warm, electric, dangerous. "You're safe here, Jada," he said, softer now, almost a whisper. "That's all I want you to know tonight." She jerked back, heart pounding, scrambling off the stool. "I don't need your safety," she snapped, snatching her bag. "I don't need you." But she didn't move, didn't run, because where the hell would she go? He didn't push, just stepped back, giving her space, his hands sliding into his pockets. "Your room's upstairs," he said, nodding toward the hall. "Second door on the right. Get some rest. We'll talk tomorrow." She didn't answer, just turned and bolted, her sneakers slapping the marble as she took the stairs 2 at a time. The room was easy to find. Big, too big, with a bed piled high with pillows and a window overlooking a garden lit up like a damn fairy tale. She locked the door behind her, leaning against it, her chest heaving. Safe. He'd said safe. But she didn't feel it, not yet. She felt trapped, caught in something she didn't understand, with a man who saw too much and said too little. She dropped her bag, slid to the floor, and hugged her knees, the gumbo warm in her belly, but her mind a storm. Back downstairs, Malcolm stood in the kitchen, staring at the spot she'd been. He rubbed a hand over his jaw, muttering to himself, "What the hell you getting into, Reid?" He'd seen her, yeah, that fire, that fight, but up close, it was more. Her skin glowed like polished oak under the lights, her eyes sharp with pain and defiance, her body curved in ways that made his pulse kick. He'd bought her to save her, sure, but damn if he didn't want more. Want her, all of her, in ways he hadn't planned. He shook his head, turning off the stove, and headed for his study. Tomorrow, he'd figure it out. Tonight, he'd let her breathe. Upstairs, Jada climbed into the bed, the sheets softer than anything she'd ever touched, and stared at the ceiling. She didn't sleep. Couldn't. Her mind spinning with questions. Who was he? What did he really want? And why, after all the years of nothing, did she feel something stirring in her chest, something that wasn't just fear? The night stretched on, quiet except for the hum of the house, and somewhere deep down, Jada knew this was just the start. Of what? She had no damn clue. The morning sun sliced through the curtains, spilling gold across the hardwood floor of Jada's new room. She woke slow, her body heavy like it didn't trust the softness of the bed beneath her. For a second, she forgot where she was. No lumpy mattress, no mildew stink, no Tamara's voice barking orders. Then it hit her, sharp and sudden. Malcolm Reid's mansion. Buckhead. The sale. She sat up fast, heart thudding, the silk sheets slipping off her like they didn't belong on her skin. Her sneakers were still on. She'd slept in them, too wired to take them off, and her bag sat slumped by the door where she'd dropped it. The room was unreal. High ceilings, a dresser polished to a shine, a vase of fresh roses on the nightstand that smelled sweet enough to make her dizzy. It was too much, too perfect, like a movie set she'd stumbled onto by mistake. She swung her legs over the edge, rubbing her eyes, trying to shake the fog in her head. Downstairs, she could hear faint clatter. Pots, maybe, or plates. Esther's voice floated up, calm and steady. talking to someone. Malcolm, probably. Jada's stomach growled, that gumbo from last night long gone, but she wasn't ready to face him yet. She needed answers, not food, and damn sure not his quiet stares that made her feel naked in a way she didn't like. She stood, stretching her stiff back, and caught her reflection in a full-length mirror across the room. Her hair was a mess, curls wild and tangled, her tank top wrinkled, jeans faded and ripped at the knee. Her skin, deep, warm brown, glowed under the morning light, but her eyes were tired, shadowed, like they'd seen too much for 25 years. She looked like herself, yeah, but out of place here, like a weed in a rose garden. "Get it together, Jada," she muttered, running a hand through her hair. She wasn't staying long. Couldn't. Whatever Malcolm thought he'd bought, she wasn't his to keep. She'd eat, figure out his game, then bounce. She had that $20 still. It'd get her a bus ticket somewhere. Anywhere. The hall outside was quiet when she cracked the door, all marble and soft light, paintings on the walls she didn't understand. Abstract swirls of color that probably cost more than her life. She padded downstairs, sneakers silent on the steps following the smell of coffee and bacon to the kitchen. Esther was there, flipping pancakes at the stove, humming some old gospel tune Jada half remembered from her daddy's Sundays. "Mornin', sugar," Esther said without turning, like she'd heard Jada coming a mile off. "Sleep okay?" "Yeah," Jada lied, hovering in the doorway. "Where's he at?" Esther nodded toward a glass door leading outside. "Patio. Likes his coffee out there. You want some breakfast first?" Jada's stomach answered for her, a loud rumble that made Esther chuckle. "Guess that's a yes," the older woman said, sliding a plate of pancakes and bacon onto the island. "Sit down, child. Ain't nobody rushing you." Jada slid onto the stool, same one as last night, and dug in. The pancakes were fluffy, syrup dripping sweet, the bacon crisp just how she liked it. She ate fast, barely tasting it, her eyes flicking to that glass door. Malcolm was out there, back to her, a mug in his hand, staring at the garden like it held all the secrets she needed. Esther watched her, leaning on the counter. "He's a good man, you know," she said, voice low. "Rough around the edges, sure, but good. Saved my boy from a bad spot years back. Jail time he didn't deserve. Malcolm don't do nothing without a reason." Jada swallowed a bite, not looking up. "Yeah? What's his reason for me?" "That's for him to tell you, initiate," Esther said, grinning. "You'll see." She didn't push it, just kept eating, but the words stuck with her. A reason. She didn't like being anybody's project, good man or not. When the plate was clean, she wiped her hands on her jeans and stood. Time to face him. She pushed through the glass door, stepping onto a patio paved with stone, a big-ass table under an umbrella, flowers blooming everywhere. Purples and yellows she didn't know the names of. Malcolm didn't turn, just sipped his coffee, his broad shoulders filling out a gray t-shirt that hugged him too damn well. The man looked like he'd walked out of a gym ad, and it pissed her off how easy he made it seem. "Morning," he said, finally glancing over his shoulder, voice smooth like it had been last night. "You sleep?" "Barely," she shot back, crossing her arms. "Too busy wondering why I'm here." He set the mug down, turning to face her fully. Up close in daylight, he was even more. Too much. Tall, built with a jaw that could cut glass and eyes that saw right through her bullshit. "Told you why," he said, stepping closer. "You needed out. I got you out." "Yeah, for 10 grand, she snapped. "What's that buy you, huh? A maid? A cook? Or something else?" His jaw tightened, just a flicker, but he didn't bite back. "It buys you freedom," he said, voice low, steady. "From that house, from them. You don't owe me shit, Jada. I ain't here to own you." Then what? She stepped up, chin high, close enough to smell that cologne again. Woodsy, warm, making her head spin. You don't drop that kind of cash for nothing. What's in it for you? He didn't flinch, just held her gaze, and damn if it didn't make her heart kick harder. You, he said, simple as that, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. I saw you fighting to keep going, even when they tried to break you. That's worth more than 10 grand to me. She laughed, sharp and bitter, turning away. You're full of it. Ain't nobody paying that much for some sob story. Believe what you want, he said, shrugging, picking up his mug again. You're here now. Eat, sleep, do whatever. Doors open if you want to leave. That stopped her cold. Leave? Just like that? She spun back, eyes narrow. You serious? Dead, he said, sipping his coffee, casual as hell. I ain't locking you up, Jada. You want to go? Go. But you got nowhere, and we both know it. He was right, and she hated him for it. That $20 wouldn't get her far. A bus ticket, maybe. Then what? Sleep on the street? She had no people, no plan, just a bag and a whole lot of nothing. Her fists clenched, nails digging into her palms, the truth burning her up inside. Before she could fire back, a phone buzzed. Hers, rattling in her bag on the kitchen floor. She bolted inside, digging it out, her gut twisting when she saw the name. Keisha, her girl, her lifeline, the only one who'd ever given a damn. She hit answer, pressing it to her ear. Jada? Where the hell you at? Keisha's voice was loud, pissed, cutting through the line like a knife. I've been calling you all night. You okay? I'm fine, Jada said, quick, glancing at Malcolm through the glass. He was watching her, not moving, just listening. Something happened. I'm at some guy's place. Some guy? Keisha's tone shot up. What guy? Jada, you better start talking or I'm coming down there myself. His name's Malcolm Reid, she said, lowering her voice. He bought me off Tamara. 10 grand. Got me out of that house. Silence. Then Keisha exploded. Bought you? What the fuck, Jada? You ain't nobody's property. Who is this dude? Some rich asshole thinking he can play hero? He says I can leave if I want. Jada cut in, pacing now, her sneakers squeaking on the marble. I don't know, Keish. He's different. Ain't hurt me or nothing. Fed me, gave me a room. Different don't mean shit, Keisha snapped. You don't know him. Rich folks like that? They sharks, Jada. They eat girls like us alive. Where you at? Buckhead, she said, hesitant. Big house. Looks like a damn palace. Buckhead? Keisha whistled low. That's Reid Enterprises money. Malcolm Reid, I know that name. Big shot, real estate king. He's bad news, girl. You gotta get out of there. Jada's chest tightened, her eyes flicking to Malcolm again. He'd stepped closer to the glass. Not inside yet. Just watching. His face blank, but his vibe heavy. He ain't locked me in, she said quieter. Says I'm free here. Free my ass, Keisha said. He paid for you, Jada. That's a leash, not a key. You need me to come get you? I'll hop in the car right now. Nah, hold up, Jada said, rubbing her temple. I need to figure this out. He ain't touched me, ain't yelled, just weird. I'll call you later, okay? Jada, Keisha started, but Jada cut her off. I'm good, Keish. Promise. Talk soon. She hung up before Keisha could argue, shoving the phone in her pocket. Her head was spinning. Keisha's words clashing with Malcolm's, freedom versus a cage she couldn't see. She turned, and there he was, stepping inside, mug still in hand. Friend? He asked, voice neutral, but his eyes were sharp. Yeah, she said, crossing her arms again. She thinks you're trouble. He nodded, slow, like he'd heard it before. She's smart. Most people do. You gonna prove her wrong? She shot back, stepping up, close enough to feel that heat off him again. He didn't smile, just held her stare, his breath steady where hers wasn't. That's up to you, he said, low, rough. You stay, you'll see. You go, you won't. Her pulse kicked, hard, his words hanging there like a dare. She didn't know what to say. Didn't trust him. Didn't trust this place. Didn't trust the way her skin buzzed when he got too close. He reached out, slow again, his hand brushing her arm, not grabbing, just touching, warm and firm, sending a shiver up her spine she couldn't hide. You're scared, he said, not a question, his fingers lingering. I get it. But I ain't them, Jada. I ain't ever gonna be them. She jerked away, heart slamming, the touch too much, too soon. Don't, she snapped, backing up. You don't know what I've been through. Don't act like you do. He dropped his hand, stepping back, giving her room. Fair, he said, voice quiet. Take your time. I ain't pushing. But he was. Not with words, not with force, but with that look, that presence, that pull she couldn't shake. She turned, storming back to the stairs, needing space, needing air, needing anything but him right now. Her room door slammed behind her, the lock clicking, and she slid down it again, same as last night, her breath ragged. Outside, Malcolm stood by the island, staring at the spot she'd been. He rubbed his neck, muttering, Slow down, man. She's a fighter. Let her fight. But damn if he didn't feel it. That spark when he touched her. That heat he hadn't expected. She was more than he'd bargained for, and it was messing with his head. Upstairs, Jada hugged her knees. Keisha's warning loud in her ears. Shock. Leash. Trouble. But Malcolm's voice was there too. Freedom. Fire. You're safe. She didn't know what to believe. Didn't know who to trust. But one thing was clear. She was in deep, and the water was rising fast. Jada didn't leave the room all day. The lock stayed clicked, the door a wall between her and whatever Malcolm Reid was playing at. She paced the hardwood, her sneakers scuffing soft tracks, her mind a tangle of Keisha's warnings and his damn voice. Low, steady, promising things she didn't dare believe. The roses on the nightstand mocked her, their scent too sweet, too perfect, like this whole damn house. She wanted to rip 'em up, scatter the petals, anything to feel less like a guest in some fairy tale she didn't ask for. Her phone buzzed again around noon. Keisha, probably. But she didn't check it. Couldn't. Every call was another shove to run, and she wasn't ready to decide. Not yet. She flopped onto the bed, staring at the ceiling. The plaster smooth and white, nothing like the cracked mess back at Tamara's. Her fingers traced the silk sheets, cool against her skin, and for a stupid second, she let herself wonder what it'd be like to stay, to sink into this, to let him be right. But that was dangerous. She'd learned early. Trust got you hurt, hope got you broken. Tamara taught her that. Derek and Chloe drilled it in, and every slap, every hungry night, every locked closet door burned it deep. Malcolm could talk all he wanted about freedom and fire, but she wasn't some damsel he could save. She'd save herself, always had, always would. By dusk, her stomach was clawing at her again, loud enough to drown out her stubbornness. She couldn't hide forever. Not if she wanted answers, not if she wanted out. She unlocked the door, slow, the click loud in the quiet, and slipped downstairs. The house was still. Esther gone for the day, no sign of Malcolm. The kitchen was dark, but a plate sat on the island, covered with foil, fried chicken, collards, cornbread. A little note stuck to it in sharp, slanted handwriting. Eat. M. She snorted, peeling back the foil. Bossy ass, she muttered, but her mouth watered at the smell. She ate standing up, too antsy to sit, the chicken crispy and hot, the greens tangy with vinegar. It was good, too good, and it pissed her off how easy it was to get used to this. When the plate was clean, she washed it, dried it, put it back, like she could erase the fact she'd taken anything from him. The glass door to the patio caught her eye, cracked open, a breeze slipping in. She stepped out, the night air cool on her face, the garden glowing under string lights, little bulbs draped over bushes, twinkling like stars. Malcolm was there, leaning against the railing, a beer in his hand, his gray t-shirt swapped for a black one that clung to him like a second skin. He didn't turn, but she knew he heard her, the way his shoulders shifted, subtle but sure. "Thought you'd stay up there all week," he said, voice carrying over the crickets, not looking back. "Thought about it," she shot back, stepping closer, arms crossed tight. "Ain't decided if I'm staying past tonight." He took a sip of his beer, slow, then turned, those dark eyes pinning her where she stood. "Fair enough," he said, setting the bottle down. "You eat?" "Yeah," she admitted grudgingly. "Thanks." He nodded, like it was nothing, but his gaze didn't let up. "You look better. Less like you're about to bolt." "Don't mean I won't," she said, stepping up to the railing, keeping a good foot between them. "Still don't get you, man. You say I'm free, but I'm here, eating your food, sleeping in your bed. Feels like a cage with fancier bars." He leaned on the railing beside her, close enough she could feel the heat off him, that cologne hitting her again, woodsy, warm, too damn good. "Ain't a cage if you can walk out," he said, voice low, rough around the edges. "I meant that. You want to go? I'll drive you wherever. Bus station, airport, wherever." She laughed, sharp and short. "With what? $20 and a bag of clothes? You know I got nothing. That's why I'm still here." "Then stay," he said, turning to face her fully, his shoulder brushing hers. "Build something. You don't need them, Jada. You don't need nobody but you." Her chest tightened, his words digging into cracks she'd patched up years ago. "Easy for you to say," she snapped, glaring up at him. "You got all this, money, power, people jumping when you snap. I ain't got shit but me, and that ain't been enough for a long damn time." "It's enough for me," he said, quiet, steady, like he was laying out a fact. "I didn't buy you to keep you, Jada. I bought you to give you a shot at whatever you want." She stared at him, breath catching, his face close now, too close. The patio lights catching the hard lines of his jaw, the softness in his eyes she hadn't seen before. "And what if I want out?" she asked, voice shaking. "What if I don't trust you?" "Then you go," he said, not flinching. "But you won't. Not yet. 'Cause you're scared, yeah, but you're curious too. I see it." Her fists clenched, nails biting her palms. "You don't see shit," she lied, turning away. But he caught her arm, gentle, not hard, his fingers warm against her skin. "I see you," he said, voice dropping, rougher now, like gravel. "Same way I saw you in that store. Fightin', holding on, even when you were falling apart. That's why you're here." She yanked free, heart slamming, the touch lingering like a burn. "Stop acting like you know me," she snapped, backing up. "You don't. You can't." But he didn't chase her, just stood there, hands in his pockets, watching her storm back inside. She didn't stop, didn't look back, her pulse roaring as she hit the stairs, locked herself in that room again. She slid down the door, head in her hands, his words looping. "I see you. I see you." And damn if they didn't crack something open she'd locked tight. She didn't sleep much, just dozed in fits, dreaming of her daddy's laugh, Tamara's sneer, Malcolm's eyes. By morning, she was done. Done hiding. Done wondering. She had to get out, test him, see if he meant it. She grabbed her bag, stuffed her phone in her pocket, and slipped downstairs before the sun was fully up. The house was quiet. Esther not in yet. Malcolm nowhere she could see. The front door was heavy, but it opened easy. No alarm, no lock clicking shut behind her. She stepped into the courtyard, the air crisp, her breath fogging in front of her. Freedom. Real freedom. Hit her like a slap, and she ran, legs pumping, sneakers slapping the pavement, down the driveway, past the gates, into Buckhead's sleepy streets. She didn't know where she was going, didn't care, just needed to move, to prove she could. She made it maybe a mile, lungs burning, legs shaking, before she stopped, doubling over on a corner near a gas station. Her $20 wouldn't get her far, but it'd get her a coffee, a bus ride, something. She straightened, wiping sweat off her forehead, and that's when she saw it. A beat-up Toyota rolling up slow, Keisha's wild braids poking out the window. "Jada!" Keisha yelled, slamming the brakes, hopping out fast. "Girl, I've been driving around here all damn morning. You good?" Jada laughed, ragged and real, running to her, throwing her arms around her best friend. "Keish, how'd you—" "Tracked your phone, dummy," Keisha said, hugging her tight, then pulling back to look her over. "You look like hell. What's going on with that Reid guy?" "He let me go," Jada said, still catching her breath. "Said I could leave, and I did. I had to see if he was lying." Keisha's eyes narrowed, scanning the street like she expected him to pop up. "And he just let you walk? No fight?" "Yeah," Jada said, nodding slow. "He didn't chase me." Keisha sucked her teeth, hands on her hips. "That's some slick shit. Probably thinks you'll come crawling back. You ain't though, right? Come with me. I got a spot downtown. You can crash." Jada hesitated, glancing back the way she'd come, the mansion out of sight, but heavy in her mind. "I don't know, Keish. He ain't what I thought. Ain't hurt me, ain't locked me up. Just weird." "Weird's dangerous," Keisha said, grabbing her arm. "Come on, girl. Let's—" A low rumble cut her off. An engine, smooth and deep, rolling up the street. Jada's stomach dropped as the Escalade pulled up. Malcolm stepping out slow, his black coat catching the morning light. Keisha tensed, stepping in front of Jada, but he didn't rush, didn't shout, just stopped a few feet away, hands in his pockets. "Jada," he said, voice calm, eyes locked on hers. "You left." "Yeah," she said, chin up, Keisha's grip tight on her arm. "You said I could." "I did," he said, nodding, then glanced at Keisha. "This your friend?" "Damn right," Keisha snapped, stepping up. "And you're the asshole who thinks he can buy her. Back off, rich boy." Malcolm didn't flinch, just looked back at Jada, steady as ever. "You want to go with her? I ain't stopping you. But I need you to hear me first." "Hear what?" Jada asked, voice shaking, Keisha tugging her back. He stepped closer, slow, ignoring Keisha's glare. "I ain't perfect," he said, low, raw. "Grew up watching my mama break under a man who thought he owned her. She was like you, strong, fire in her, till he snuffed it out. Died when I was 15, and I swore I'd never let that happen again. I saw you in that store, Jada, and it was her all over, fightin', holding on. I couldn't walk away. Not then, not now." Her throat locked up, his words hitting hard, cracking through her walls. Keisha cursed under her breath. But Jada couldn't move, couldn't look away from those eyes, dark, deep, carrying pain she recognized. "You don't gotta stay," he said, softer now, stepping back. But if you do, it's your call, not mine. You're my equal, Jada, not my property. Never will be. He turned, heading back to the car, but stopped, looking over his shoulder. Doors open if you change your mind. The Escalade pulled off, slow and quiet, leaving her standing there, Keisha's hand still on her arm, her heart a damn mess. She didn't know what to feel. Anger, fear, something softer she didn't want to name. He'd let her go, just like he said, but he'd laid his soul bare, and it shook her to her core. "Jada, let's go," Keisha said, tugging harder. "He's playing you." But Jada didn't move, staring down the empty street, Malcolm's voice echoing, "My equal, not my property." She didn't trust him, not fully, but damn if she didn't feel seen, really seen, for the first time since her daddy died. "I need to think," she said, pulling free, voice shaky. "Just give me a sec, Keish." Keisha sighed, loud and dramatic, but nodded. "Fine, but I ain't leaving you out here alone. We'll figure it out." Jada nodded back, her mind spinning, her feet rooted. She'd run, yeah, but now she wasn't sure what she was running from, or to. Jada didn't go with Keisha that morning. She couldn't, not yet. Her feet stayed planted on that Buckhead corner, the gas station's neon buzzing behind her, Malcolm's words looping in her head like a song she couldn't shake. My equal, not my property. It was bullshit. Had to be. Nobody dropped 10 grand and walked away empty-handed. But the way he'd said it, raw and real, stuck with her. Keisha fussed, pacing the sidewalk, her braids swinging as she threw her hands up. "Jada, you trippin'," she said, voice sharp. "He's got you all twisted up, talking that sweet shit. You don't owe him nothing. Let's bounce." "I know," Jada said, rubbing her temple, her bag slung over her shoulder. I need to see it through, Keish. One more day. If he's playing me, I'm out. For real." Keisha sucked her teeth, eyes narrow. "One day, girl. Then I'm dragging you out of there myself. Call me if he tries anything. I mean it." "I will," Jada said, managing a half smile. "Promise." Keisha hugged her tight, muttering, "Stubborn ass," before hopping back in her Toyota and peeling off, the engine fading into the morning hum. Jada stood there a minute, the air cool on her face, then turned back toward the mansion. Her legs felt heavy, each step a fight, but she had to know, had to test him, see if that open door was real or just a pretty trap. The gates were still cracked when she got back, the Escalade parked out front, Malcolm nowhere in sight. She slipped inside, the foyer quiet except for the faint clink of dishes from the kitchen. Esther, probably. Jada dropped her bag by the stairs, her pulse kicking as she headed for the patio. He was there, same spot as last night, beer swapped for a glass of water, his black t-shirt catching the midday sun. He didn't turn when she stepped out, but his voice carried low and even. "Back already?" "Yeah," she said, stopping a few feet away, arms crossed. "Don't get cocky. Ain't staying long." He glanced over his shoulder, that almost smirk tugging his lips. "Didn't think you would," he said, turning fully now, leaning on the railing. "What changed your mind?" She shrugged, keeping her eyes on the garden, not him. "Curious, I guess. You talk a big game. I want to see if you mean it." "Fair," he said, nodding slow. "What's it gonna take?" "Truth," she shot back, stepping closer, her sneakers scuffing the stone. "No more vague-ass I see you bullshit. Why me? Why now? And don't give me that sob story about your mama again. I ain't her." His jaw tightened, just a flicker, but he didn't look away. "All right," he said, setting the glass down, his hands sliding into his pockets. "Truth. I've been watching Tamara for a while. Not you, her. She's been running scams, skimming cash from folks in your neighborhood, using that house as a front. I was digging into her, planning to shut it down when I saw you at the store. You weren't part of the plan, just happened. Jada's stomach dropped, her fists clenching. So what? I'm collateral damage? You scooped me up 'cause I was there? Nah, he said, voice rougher now. I scooped you up 'cause I couldn't leave you there. Tamara's dirty, Jada. Deeper than you know. She's tied to some bad people, and you were in the crosshairs. I paid her off to get you out before it blew up. Her head spun, the words hitting like bricks. Bad people? What the hell you talking about? He stepped closer, close enough she could smell that cologne again, his eyes dark and serious. She's in debt. Drugs, gambling, you name it. Owed a guy named Xavier Cole 10 grand, same as I paid. He's been pressing her, and she was gonna hand you over to settle it. I beat him to it. Xavier Cole? Jada's voice shook, the name ringing a bell. Some slick dude her stepbrother Derek ran with, always flashing cash and a fake smile. You saying she was gonna sell me to him? Yeah, Malcolm said, not blinking. And he ain't the type to let you walk away. Her knees went weak, but she locked them, refusing to show it. Why should I believe you? You could be making this up to keep me here. You don't have to, he said, shrugging. Call your friend, ask around. Xavier's name's known. Ask what he does to girls he buys. I ain't lying, Jada. She stared at him, breath shallow, the pieces clicking too fast. Tamara's smug grin when she'd said somebody's taken you. Derek's late-night talks with shady guys, the way Chloe'd laughed like it was a joke. It fit, and that scared her more than anything. All right, she said, voice tight. Say I buy it. What now? You my bodyguard or something? He almost smiled, just a twitch. If you want. Or you stay, figure out what's next. I got resources. You can use them. Get a job, a place, whatever. I ain't here to run your life. She laughed, bitter and loud. Yeah, right. You drop 10 grand and expect nothing? I ain't that dumb, Malcolm. I don't expect nothing, he said, stepping up, his voice dropping low, rough. But I ain't gonna lie. I want you here. Not 'cause I own you, but 'cause I see you, Jada. And I like what I see. Her breath caught, his closeness hitting her hard. The heat off him, the way his eyes flicked over her face, lingering on her lips. She stepped back, heart slamming, but he didn't follow, just watched her, steady as ever. Don't, she snapped, turning away, her skin buzzing. I ain't your damn fantasy. Didn't say you were, he called after her, calm as hell. Just saying you're worth more than you think. She stormed inside, her head a mess, his words chasing her up the stairs. She locked the door again, pacing, her phone burning a hole in her pocket. She yanked it out, dialing Keisha, needing her girl to ground her. Jada! Keisha picked up fast, voice sharp. You okay? Yeah, Jada said, pacing faster. He says tomorrow is gonna sell me to some dude named Xavier Cole. You know him? Keisha went quiet, too quiet, then cursed low. Shit, yeah, I know Xavier. Slimy bastard, runs girls, drugs, all of it, works out of East Point. If Tamara's mixed up with him, that's bad, Jada. Real bad. Her stomach twisted, Malcolm's story lining up too damn well. He says he got me out before Xavier could. Paid her off. Paid her off? Keisha's voice rose. That's still fucked, Jada. He ain't no saint. He's playing some angle. You gotta... A loud crash cut her off, glass shattering downstairs, loud and sharp, followed by a shout. Jada froze, phone slipping in her hand. Keish, hold up. Something's happening. Jada, what? Keisha started, but Jada dropped the phone, bolting to the door. She cracked it, peering down the hall, her pulse roaring. Footsteps thudded below, heavy and fast. Then Malcolm's voice, low and pissed. "Get the hell out of my house, Cole." Jada's blood ran cold. She crept to the stairs, peeking over the railing. Malcolm stood in the foyer, fists clenched, facing a man she'd seen before. Xavier Cole, slick in a leather jacket, gold chain glinting, his grin sharp as a blade. Two big dudes flanked him, one holding a bat, the other cracking his knuckles. Glass sparkled on the floor, a busted window by the door. "Reid," Xavier drawled, stepping closer, his boots crunching glass. "You think you can snatch my shit and walk away? Tamra promised me that girl. 10 grand's mine." "She ain't yours," Malcolm said, voice like steel, stepping up. "I paid. She's gone. Deal's done." Xavier laughed, cold and loud. "Oh, I'll get her back. You can't hide her forever, man. She's too sweet to waste on you." Jada's stomach lurched, her hands shaking as she gripped the railing. Malcolm moved fast, grabbing Xavier's collar, slamming him against the wall. "You don't touch her," he growled, low and lethal. "You come near her, I'll bury you." The goons lunged, one swinging the bat, but Malcolm ducked, elbowing the guy hard in the gut, sending him crashing into the stairs. The other grabbed his arm, but Malcolm twisted free, slamming a fist into his jaw. Xavier broke loose, backing up, still grinning like a damn psycho. "This ain't over, Reid," he spat, wiping blood from his lip. "I'll find her. Bet on it." He bolted, his guys stumbling after, the front door banging shut behind them. Malcolm stood there, breathing hard, fists still clenched, blood dripping from a cut on his knuckles. Jada couldn't move, couldn't breathe, her head spinning. Xavier here, now, for her. Malcolm looked up, catching her eye, his face softening just a fraction. "You okay?" he called, voice rough but steady. She nodded, slow, her throat too tight to speak. He climbed the stairs, stopping a step below her, close enough she could see the sweat on his brow, the fire in his eyes. "Told you," he said low. "He's bad news. You're safe here, Jada. I swear it." She swallowed hard, nodding again, but safe didn't feel real, not with Xavier's grin burned into her brain, not with Malcolm's blood on the floor. "He's gonna come back," she whispered, voice shaking. "Let him try," Malcolm said, fierce, his hand brushing her arm, warm and firm. "I got you." She didn't pull away this time, too rattled, too raw. Downstairs, Esther rushed in, gasping at the mess, but Jada barely heard her. Her world narrowed to Malcolm, his touch, his promise, his fight. And damn if it didn't shake her to her soul. Hours later, she sat on the patio, alone, the night thick around her. Malcolm had cleaned up, patched the window, told her to rest, but she couldn't. Her phone buzzed. Keisha, texting like crazy. "You good? What happened? Call me." She didn't answer, just stared at the garden, the lights blurring as her eyes burned. The glass door slid open, Malcolm stepping out, a beer in each hand. He offered her one, silent, and she took it, the bottle cold against her palm. He sat across from her, not too close, just there, sipping slow. "You believe me now?" he asked, voice quiet, the crickets loud between them. "Yeah," she said, barely a whisper, taking a swig. The beer was bitter, grounding her. "Don't mean I trust you." He nodded, like he expected it. "Good. Trust's earned. I'll keep earning it." She looked at him then, really looked, the cut on his hand, the tension in his shoulders, the way he watched her like she was worth fighting for. Her chest ached, something shifting, something she couldn't name. "Xavier's gonna kill me, ain't he?" she asked, voice small, the fear slipping out. "Not if I kill him first," Malcolm said, dead serious, his eyes locking on hers. She didn't laugh, didn't argue, just held his gaze, the weight of it sinking in. He'd fought for her, not just words, but fists, blood, real shit. And for the first time, she didn't feel alone in it. The air on the patio hung heavy that night, thick with the scent of jasmine and the unspoken weight between them. Jada gripped the beer bottle, its chill biting into her palm, her eyes fixed on the garden lights as they blurred into tiny halos. Malcolm sat across from her, silent but solid, his presence a tether she didn't want to admit she needed. Xavier's voice, that cold, slimy laugh, echoed in her head, twisting her gut. She'd seen him leave, yeah, but she felt him still, lurking out there, waiting. "You really mean that?" she asked, voice low, barely cutting through the crickets. "You'd kill him?" Malcolm didn't hesitate, his gaze steady on her, dark and unyielding. "If it comes to that, yeah," he said, taking a slow sip of his beer. "Ain't letting him near you, Jada. Not now, not ever." She swallowed hard, the words landing like stones in her chest. She'd heard promises before. Her daddy's, soft and warm, before he was gone. Tamara's, sharp and fake, before the slaps started. But Malcolm's felt different, heavy, real, backed by the blood on his knuckles and the fire in his eyes. She didn't know if it scared her or steadied her, maybe both. "Why?" she pressed, leaning forward, the bottle clinking on the table. "Why go that far for me? I ain't your girl, ain't your family. I'm just me." He set his beer down, slow, deliberate, his hands resting on his knees. "'Cause you're worth it," he said, voice rough but sure. "You don't see it yet, but I do. You're strong, Jada. Stronger than them. Stronger than this shit. I ain't losing that to some punk like Xavier." Her throat tightened, his words digging into places she'd locked up tight. She wanted to argue, to shove it back. But her fight was slipping, worn thin by the day, by him. "You don't even know me," she muttered, looking away, her fingers tracing the bottle's label. "I know enough," he said, leaning in, close enough she could feel his breath, warm against the night air. "And I want to know more. If you let me." Her heart kicked, hard, his closeness stirring something she couldn't name. Fear, yeah, but something hotter, deeper, curling low in her belly. She stood fast, chair scraping, needing space. "I need air," she said, voice shaky, turning for the garden path. He didn't follow, just watched her go, his silence louder than words. She wandered the stone trail, the lights guiding her, her sneakers soft on the gravel. The garden stretched out, roses, lilacs, a fountain bubbling quiet, too pretty, too peaceful for the storm in her head. She stopped by the water, staring at her reflection, distorted and dark, her curls wild, her eyes wide. Who was she here? Not Tamara's punching bag, not Xavier's prey. But what? Footsteps crunched behind her, slow and steady. She didn't turn, knew it was him. Malcolm stopped a few feet back, hands in his pockets, giving her room. "You good?" he asked, voice soft, careful. "No," she said, honest for once, her reflection rippling as a breeze hit the water. "I don't know what I am no more." He stepped closer, beside her now, his shoulder brushing hers. "You're Jada Brooks," he said low, firm. "That's enough. Rest'll figure itself out." She laughed, small and bitter, glancing at him. "You make it sound easy." "Ain't easy," he said, meeting her eyes, his face lit soft by the lights. "But it's true. You're free here, Jada. Free to be you, whoever that is." Her chest ached, his words hitting too close, too raw. She turned to him, fully this time, her breath catching at how he looked at her, not like a prize, not like a burden, but like a person, whole and real. "And if I stay?" she asked, voice barely there. "What then?" "Then we figure it out," he said, stepping up, his hand lifting slow, hesitant, brushing her cheek. "Together." The touch sparked through her, warm and electric, and she didn't pull away. Her eyes locked on his, dark and deep, and something snapped. Fear giving way to need, to want, to a hunger she'd buried deep. She grabbed his shirt, pulling him in, her lips crashing into his, hard and desperate. He froze for a split second, then kissed her back, fierce and full, his hands sliding to her waist, pulling her close. The world melted. The garden, the night, the fear. Nothing left but him, his taste, his heat. His lips were firm, hungry, moving with hers like they'd done this 1,000 times, his fingers digging into her hips, anchoring her. She pressed against him, her hands sliding up his chest, feeling the muscle under his shirt, the thud of his heart matching hers. It was messy, raw, everything she'd held back pouring out, and damn if it didn't feel right. He pulled back first, breath ragged, forehead pressed to hers. "Jada," he murmured, voice thick. "You sure?" "Yeah," she whispered, nodding, her hand still on him. "I'm sure." He kissed her again, softer this time, slow and deep, his hands roaming her back, tracing her curves like he was memorizing her. She melted into it, the tension draining, replaced by a fire she hadn't felt in years, maybe ever. They stumbled back to the patio, lips locked, hands everywhere, the beer bottles forgotten as he pressed her against the railing, his body hard against hers, his breath hot on her neck. Inside, the house was dark, quiet, but they didn't stop. Up the stairs, her room, the door banging shut behind them. Clothes hit the floor, her tank top, his shirt, her jeans, a trail of want leading to the bed. He laid her down, slow, reverent, his eyes never leaving hers, his hands exploring her skin, dark and glowing under the dim light. She arched into him, gasping as he kissed her throat, her chest, every touch a promise, every sigh a yes. It wasn't just sex. It was more, bigger, a claiming and a giving all at once. He moved with her, steady and sure, their bodies sinking like they'd been made for this, her nails digging into his back, his voice rough in her ear. "You're mine, Jada, and I'm yours." She came undone, loud and free, his name on her lips, and he followed, a growl tearing from him as they crashed together, tangled and whole. After, they lay there, sweat slick and breathing hard, her head on his chest, his arm around her, the silence soft for once. She traced the lines of his skin, dark like hers, scarred in places she'd ask about later. "This don't mean I'm staying forever," she murmured, half teasing, half true. He chuckled, low and warm, kissing her forehead. "Yeah, it does," he said, pulling her closer. "But we'll fight about it tomorrow." She smiled, small but real, and let herself rest, safe in a way she hadn't been since her daddy's arms. Days turned to weeks, then months, the mansion shifting from a cage to a home. Jada didn't run, couldn't, not with Malcolm beside her, not with Xavier still out there. He didn't come back right away, but the threat hung, a shadow they both felt. Malcolm beefed up security, cameras, guys at the gates, and taught her to shoot, his hands steady on hers as she aimed at cans in the backyard, laughing when she hit one dead on. "Badass," he'd said, grinning, and she'd shoved him, grinning back. Keisha came around, wary but warming up, crashing on the couch some nights, her loud laugh filling the place. "You too nasty," she'd tease, catching them kissing in the kitchen. But Jada saw the relief in her eyes. Her girl was okay, better than okay. Then one night, 6 months in, it broke. Jada was in the kitchen, frying chicken, Malcolm at the island scrolling his phone, when the security alarm screamed, loud, piercing, glass shattering again. He was up fast, gun from the drawer in his hand, pushing her behind him. "Stay here," he said, voice hard. But she grabbed a knife, shaking her head. "No way," she said, fierce. "I'm with you." He didn't argue. No time. They moved to the foyer, Xavier there, bat in hand, his goons kicking through the busted door. He grinned, same slimy grin, stepping over the glass. "Told you I'd find her," he said, eyes on Jada, bat tapping his palm. "You can't keep what's mine, Reid." "She ain't yours?" Malcolm growled, gun up, stepping forward. "Get out, or you're done." Xavier laughed, swinging the bat at a lamp, smashing it to bits. "Big talk, man. Let's see." Jada moved before she thought, lunging with the knife, slashing at his arm. He yelled, dropping the bat, blood spilling, and Malcolm fired. Once, twice, the goons hitting the floor, groaning. Xavier stumbled back, clutching his arm, eyes wide with shock. "You crazy bitch," he spat. But Malcolm grabbed him, slamming him down, gun to his temple. "Call her that again," Malcolm said, low. "Lethal. And you don't walk out of here." Jada stood over him, knife dripping, her breath ragged but steady. "You don't own me," she said, voice cold. "Never did." Xavier sneered, but fear flickered in his eyes. Malcolm hauled him up, tossing him to the guards rushing in, Esther behind them, phone to her ear, 911 on the line. Cops came fast. Cuffs snapping on Xavier and his crew, the night a blur of lights and noise. Later, they sat on the patio, cops gone, house quiet again, Jada's hand in his, blood still under her nails. "You okay?" he asked, thumb brushing her knuckles. "Yeah," she said, nodding, her voice firm. "He's done. We're good." He pulled her close, kissing her deep, slow, the fight draining out of them both. "Damn right," he murmured, holding her tight. Weeks later, Tybee Island glowed under the moon, the waves whispering as Jada stood barefoot in the sand, Malcolm on one knee, that ring sparkling. She said yes, tears falling, her heart full, not just of him, but of her, the woman she'd fought to be. Back in Atlanta, she found Tamara one last time, at that Peachtree dump, the house falling apart, her stepmama a shell, broke, alone, Derek and Chloe gone. Jada didn't yell, didn't hit, just stood there, strong and free. "You tried to break me," she said, voice steady, "but I'm still here. You ain't." Tamara flinched, no words, and Jada walked away, Malcolm's hand in hers, the past dust behind her. Now, months after the wedding, she sat in their garden, her belly round with their first kid, Malcolm beside her, his arm around her waist. "Boy or girl?" he asked, grinning, his hand on her stomach. "Girl," she said, smiling back. "Gotta be a fighter like us." He kissed her, soft and sure, the future wide open. Not perfect, not easy, but theirs. From ashes to forever. They'd built it, and nothing could take it away. And that's the end, y'all. If Jada and Malcolm's journey touched your heart, smash that subscribe button and comment your favorite moment below. Let's keep the love alive.